Let's go.
Let's start these English conversations. Okay, make yourself at home, Lorenzo, please.
Uh, So today I bring this PDF like it was in the start of our conversations to have a little bit of a little idea of what happens in job interviews abroad. So we are just going to read the question and try to answer and try to have a little conversation about the question, and if we want, we can read the answer, like it was in the start of our conversations. Do you remember, Renato? I think so. Uh, so can you start reading? Someone wants to start reading?
Okay, go ahead, or anyone can read the first questions.
Oh boy, here we go. So, section 1, Java language and the JVM internal. The first topic is what is Java and why it is the industry standard for enterprise grade systems. Well, Java is a high level, object oriented, and platform independent language designed for the right ones, run anywhere, or the world acronymous philosophy. It is preferred for enterprise systems because it provides a high stability, a massive ecosystem of libraries, and a long-term backwards compatibility. Crucially, the Java Virtual Machine, or JVM, optimizes code at runtime, providing high performance for long-running server applications. So yeah, self-explanatory. Java is a really mature language and which bring to the table the idea of, hey, what about we make a language which is portable? Because back in the day, the most famous language that had in the market was like C, C++, all machine code, directly machine code compilation. So, for example, if I'm on FreeBSD, Linux, Windows, Mac OS, whatever system that I'm running, and I would like to compile for a different platform, I would need to have a different OS. So Java just breaks this kind of paradigm and really delivers value to the table with this kind of approach. Plus, currently there is the GraalVM project, which can reduce even more some of how can I say it, over performance overheads, which basically in quotes kills the JVM and turns Java like a C or C++ and makes its binary even smaller. But yeah, that's one of the things that I understood from this sentence.
All right, very good. So I think I don't have much to add to this answer because you know I would add what you told us about the portability of the system that can run everywhere. So this is the main point, and we could talk about a little bit uh, related to uh, the or oh my God, I forgot the name even in Portuguese. The oh my God,
Any synonyms because I have no idea what you're talking about.
it's OP. It's
Uh, Object oriented
yeah
principle
yeah
programming
this
actually.
that's it.
O-
So
Object
the,
oriented programming.
yeah, because we can make the relation with the database, so it's very simple to make an object inside of Java and make the relation with the database. So this is one of the topics that I would add if someone asked me this kind of question in a job interview. So going ahead to the question two, explain the four OOP principles and their impact on system maintenance. So the first one is encapsulation, hiding internal state via private fields to protect data integrity. Inheritance, allowing subclasses to reuse logic from parent classes, reducing code duplication. Polymorphism, enabling one interface to represent different underlying forms, such as different implementations of a service. And the fourth one, and at last but not least, abstraction, using abstract classes or interfaces to hide complex implementation details from the user. So these are the four principles. I don't think there is one that's the most important, but I would say that inheritance is very, very useful because we can we can just write code once and we don't need to rewrite code every time like the object class that every class extends in Java. So this is a very important thing in the language.
Agree with you. Without inheritance, there's no polymorphism too.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, however, when we work with inheritance, there is a problem of the diamond problem. I guess this is the name, or the black diamond, something like this, because in enterprise grade services, it's preferred to use composition over inheritance. For example, if we using inheritance for a vehicle class, we sometimes need to implement everything, but it's not like necessary. Like, uh, let's say that we have a base class called vehicle again, and for some reason there is amount of wheels in this vehicle base class, and if we try to implement like a inheritance of it in a boat class or canoe, whatever, a canoe does not have wheels, so inheritance quite break the logic for this case. So that's why I prefer to use composition over inheritance.
Indeed, my friend, indeed. But if you end up to this situation, I think your abstraction is not good enough.
Yep. However, try to explain it to a PM or PO during very important project to delivery. They don't care.
Yeah,
They don't care about the
that's
code.
pretty hard.
That's, yeah, I know that because in fact I'm working with legacy code now, so quite sad some things that I'm seeing. But this is outside of the scope of this conversation.
All right, so going ahead to the third question, can anyone read, please?
I can.
I will. Oh, sorry.
When should you use an abstract class versus an interface? An abstract class is a partial implementation that can hold states, fields, and implemented methods. An interface is a contract that defines behavior, but generally does not hold state. Interfaces are preferred for interfaces or defining APIs and support multiples inheritance, whereas a class can only extend one abstract class.
Is really a very common asked question in interviews. But if you don't have so many abstraction, you can use any interface. So good.
I think it is more easy to use the interface. Normally, in my context, I normally use interface, but I don't know when it's better to use the abstract class.
If you just want one more way of action in your object, you can use interface. If you need a state, there's a property there, and it's gonna be important to your class. You use a structure class.
All right, so going ahead to the fourth question. Uh, can anyone read it, please, and then answer?
I'll do it. So, section 4. How does Java manage memory between the stack and the heap? Memory is divided in two primary areas managed by JVM. Stack, store method calls, call frames, and local variables. It is fast and managed automatically by the thread. Heap stores all objects and instance variables. It is globally accessible and managed by the garbage collector. So that's how can I say? Uh that's a matter when oh, god damn it. What is going on with me? So for a beginner developer, uh that section I think it's gonna be hard to understand. So how can we manage stack and heap? That's a good question. I used to have like a couple of years ago when I was in college. So I used to hear my teacher talking about stack memory and heap memory and how it works, and I was like, "What the hell is he talking about? I won't use it." So you don't have to manage it in your code. But nowadays, I have a better understanding about stack and heap. But usually, in your day, I think Java is better. It's getting better every single day. Uh, God damn it! What is going on? So I take a couple of minutes to get my ideas better in English, but uh, like I said, Java is getting better and better every single day, every single version, which provide a better memory manager. So we don't have to care a lot about it. But I understand as much as good as your coding, as much performance we will get.
Yeah, to be honest, this is the kind of question that I would not know how to answer. So this is probably very advanced. It's not very advanced, but it's the kind of question that you usually don't think. Uh, at least myself, I don't think about this kind of questions while I am developing my programs. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has any idea to complete here, but I don't have any.
I can
Yeah,
give my 2 cents here. So a stack memory is like a test table. When you are writing down your code on the paper, seeing debugging code on the paper, so you put the value of the variables, method calls, and how it goes. And when the method is done, all the stack is available again. So it's like a stack, the first in, the last out. And the heap memory stores all the references to your objects when you write new class, and it will the heap will will allocate a space of this memory for you use in future uses of this reference. So I think we need to worry about how we use our memory, because it's important for the performance of our application.
Yeah, I understand you, Vinicius, but I don't think we should get sick about it. That's a problem. Where I think with every OPP language nowadays, so we have a bunch of hardware, so we don't need to care like 30 years ago. And yeah, I think Java and other languages like C Sharp. Uh, I just remember C Sharp now. Should give more control to the coder. So okay, you instantiate an object, and you know it in your code when this object will not be used anymore. But even if we call the garbage collector, uh, there's no such a way to get know when JVM will free that space. So that should be uh, uh, more of a responsibility of a coder. So okay, if I call garbage collector should erase the object at that moment. So if that work should be better, but we don't have any control about that.
Because of the use of the CPUs, maybe the CPU is very busy and the garbage collector can't run to clean your memory to free space in your memory. So Java decides when to run it. You don't have to worry about this. You can call garbage collector, but you
Yeah.
don't control when it runs.
Yes.
But we need to care about the memory of our application, because nowadays one machine doesn't support only one application. Probably there's a cluster of Kubernetes uh, sending many applications, Java applications, C Sharp applications, Node applications. So we need to use these resource very carefully, because we can have a out of memory exception, and that's really bad.
Yeah.
So if you don't think in your application use of memory, you have a very expensive application, and
Yeah.
hardware is not cheap.
As well.
That's it.
All right, so going ahead, the fifth question. So explain heap generations and the weak generation hypothesis. Oh my God, I have never had contact with this kind of thing before, but let's read it. The heap is divided into generations because most objects die young. Young generation, where new objects are created, collecting this area frequently is very efficient. Old, tenured generation store long-lived objects that survived multiple young gen collections. All right, so for me that's it about this question. I don't know if anyone knows something about it, so if not, we can go further.
That seems to
All
be
right.
so quite low level question.
Yeah, yeah. It's like very. It's not just a senior engineer. It's like uh, a guy that works with low-level applications. Let me see if there is some questions that are more related to our daily work. Hmm, I think we can go ahead with the eighth question. Can anyone read it, please?
I can. So, explain the difference between check and unchecked exception. Checked exceptions enforce at compile time that they represent coverable conditions that developer must handle, and unchecked runtime exceptions represent programming errors like no pointer exception, really bad, and occur at runtime. So when we have a exception that we need to handle that we already know file I don't remember exception when you're reading resources. So we need to care about this because it's very common that we can't write at this time or we can read because someone is already writing at this file. So it's a well-known issue, and Java already says to you, hey, handle this. And unchecked exceptions is the exceptions that we don't know that will occur. Like new pointer exception is a pretty common one we receive in our face. We are testing our programs, and we just receive and try to handle this in code, like checking if it's not new.
Yeah, in my
And
opinion,
that's it.
the checked exception, the problem is that usually there are developers that just throw this exception. So in the end, it's just an unchecked exception that you are just throwing it to the main to the main to the main method to deal with. So this is the problem. So in my opinion, the best way to deal with both of the exceptions for sure is to have a good program with tests. So with the tests, we can handle better these kind of exceptions, both the checked and the unchecked exceptions.
Agree. If we test our code, it's better for us and for the users. But the check exception, you will have to handle this at programming time.
Yeah, but you can just throw it. You can just like you throw in the method. If I'm not wrong, you can just
Oh,
pass
okay.
without the try catch.
And it tells the method who calls your method to handle this for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if anyone wants to give an opinion here. All right, so going ahead, ninth. Anyone to read it, please? Okay, let me do it. How do list, set, and map differ in collection frameworks? Okay, so let me try to answer this without looking into the answer. So the list is an object that you can storage a lot of different objects inside of it. Of course, we need to follow the generics that are indicated the type of object that we are using. The map, if I'm not wrong, is the one that you just can. Oh, sorry, the set is the one that you just can storage uh, one object. You cannot double the object inside of it. And the map, it's the kind of JSON one that you can have a key and a value where you handle the list. For sure, it's not a list, but you handle the all the objects that are inside of the map with a key and a value. Usually, a key it's an ID or a string, and the value could be an object, could be a string, could be anything. So yeah, I think that's it.
Can anyone check if map implements collection?
Mm, let me
I'm on
see.
the cell phone.
Map does map implement collection interface?
Nope, according to Stack
No.
Overflow, from a topic from 15 years ago, does not.
Yeah. And we forget about queues.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's queues, there are priority queues.
and uh,
And now Java 21 have order lists that you can get the first and get the last. It's a pretty cool feature that they implement on this version.
it's an
The
object
order list.
called order list.
Yep.
Oh, didn't know. All right, so going ahead to the 10th question. Uh, can you read it, João?
Oh, sure thing. What are the most common concurrency issues in Java? Concurrency issues include race conditions, data logs, and the visibility problem and the visibility problems where changes by one thread are seen by others. Java provides synchronized blocks, logs, and concurrency routines to mitigate these issues. Well, don't think it's only Java problem. For example, C Sharp and I guess the Node runtime for JavaScript has as well. But when we are talking like asynchronous programming and for multitask as well, especially when we deploy to like a Kubernetes and this kind of stuff. If a thread is not synchronized with another, we might have this kind of problem of racing condition deadlocks. So once again, I think this is such as a low level question, not as much as like the GC and stack and hit, but yeah, I think there are some collections or the instructions in Java which are not thread safe. So I think let me see if a list is or is the map is not thread safe Java. Actually, hash map is not a threat safe. So yeah, when we are talking about a distributed system, it's not a good idea to use like hash map to refrain kind of problems.
The way I see, we developers should know more about concurrency and threats and this.
Yeah,
But
especially when we are talking about like a distributed system. For example, if you are developing like a monetary system, for example, hey, need to implement the Pix interface, for example, or
yeah, man,
whatever
yeah,
way of payment, dude, you will not like a deadlock nor any kind of problem with concurrency.
yeah. In this year, 2026, I will study more concurrency because I really love to give my 2 cents on this topic, but I just can't. And, and that's pretty bad for me as a developer. And now in Java 21, we have the virtual threads, and I don't even know how to talk about this.
Virtual threads are a blast, especially if you are dealing with Spring, because there is just a notation at the application.properties. It's way better than working with, I guess, reactional programming. Like, I know that Java does not implement async and await. It has the completable feature, but working with
Okay.
virtual threads is way easier. It's still not async. It's still not asynchronous programming, but it's better than having like a single thread to be managed. But the application have only a single thread for many operations. Let the Java be the JVM do the trick for us.
Frequently, we work on web systems. So when we make a request, the web server already opened one thread for us, so we don't need to care about this.
Yeah.
So I think that that's the reason why I don't do this feature as I should.
Yeah, but I know one implementation that I have already worked with that's like when I'm having an scheduler and then I have a service that I need to instantiate once. So this service is going to be a monolith. I think so. That's the word in English, a monolith. So using it, maybe this service could have a variable inside of it, like a private field that's called inside of it. So I know because I have already used it. So we should take care while using. I don't remember the name if it's monolith, but it's like the kind of architecture that you just instantiate the service one time, you know. So while we are using this kind of thing that is usual in Java, we can have problems with concurrency. So, but again, I don't remember the specific details to tell you all right now. But I have already dealt with this before.
When you talk
That's a
like
very good observation.
Lorenzo, when you talk about like injecting a service one time, sorry if it was not the word you used because I'm feeling pretty tired now. But you mean like a singleton pattern
Yeah, a
or
singleton.
okay
Yeah. It's
or
not
yeah,
monolith for sure.
yeah.
Not. Yeah, but that's it. That's the problem that I was having in my application because it's like we were using an interface that were instantiating it was a kind of HTTP client, and this HTTP client needed to be synchronized with the application, and if it was not, while the scheduler was running, it was a mess. We
Yeah.
can't make the application run properly.
Right.
Okay, so going ahead, section 2, the Spring Framework ecosystem. Anyone want to read this? This one? Renato, Lyson, Rafael, if
I can
anyone
read.
of you, Vinicius. All right.
So, what is a Spring Framework and what enterprise problem does it solve? Spring is a framework that simplifies the Java development by providing infrastructure support like dependency injection, AOP, and transaction management. It allows developers to focus on business logic rather than other plate plumbing. So Spring is, I think, is our favorite framework, the most used framework for Java applications, and we do really use a lot of dependency injection when we use auto-wire service and components repository application. And the AOP, it serves for we. I really don't use a lot of AOP in my applications, but if we need to use the forget the name monitoring systems in our application, we need to use AOP. And transaction management is the pure choice of Spring framework because if we are writing on database and things go wrong, it just roll back all the transaction for you, and you don't have to worry about to erase all the previous inserted rows in database.
Mm. Can I share my opinion?
Definitely.
Please,
I think the most important thing working with Spring in comparison with legacy Java applications that I have already been working with is first of all the organization of Spring, because if you uh, if if you make a mess with a Spring application, if yeah, because it's really hard to 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 make a messy application with Spring Framework. So this is the first thing, and the second thing for sure is the Spring Boot by itself, the one that initialize the container for you, the server for you, so you don't need to be configuring a server. You don't need to do the standalone.xml and all that files that you need to work with. So all those files that you need to work with. So these two things are the most important for me working with Spring Framework.
I see with the same eye.
All right, so going ahead, anyone want to read it? Rafael, Lyson, Renato, João?
All right. So the 12ish, isn't it?
Yeah.
So explain dependency injection, DI, and how it promotes loosely coupling. DI is a pattern where dependencies are provided to a class externally rather than being created inside the class. This improves testability, modularity, and promotes loose coupling between components. So yeah, it's quite self-explanatory. That and it's in the Spring it's quite neat because you don't need to have a dependency container, a dependency injection container differently from C Sharp, which is another language that I work with. So we can just like call an interface in our in a service, in a controller, whatever you need, instead of, for example, hey, I need to instantiate an object here or instantiate multiple objects, and the code goes extremely messy. And yeah, I think that's all. So, as a hot topic, I would like to understand your guys' opinion about the auto-wired keyword, as the Spring docs are not recommended to using it anymore in implement via constructor, because I know a professor which has such a harsh opinion about it, especially about of the subject of testability of the code.
About using the dependency injection inside or outside of the constructor.
Yeah, instead of use the press injection with a constructor, he prefers to use like the auto wired, but the Spring docs already say, hey, auto wired is not recommended anymore. You shall use via constructor. I would like to
Yeah,
understand your guys' opinion about it.
I have already listened that better to. I have already heard that's better to test applications using the constructor one. So, but I don't have. Uh, I know that's kind of weird talking this, but I don't work with applications that are tested, so I don't have a proper opinion to tell you all about it.
Anyone else?
If you don't use autoride, you can reduce one line in your import part of your
Oh boy.
request.
Yeah.
The Spring team sees the auto-wired as a code smell. I don't use it because it's a code smell and we don't want code smells in our code.
Definitely not.
All right, so going ahead, how does Spring Boot's opinionated approach simplify setup? What means opinionated? Opinionated. Uh, Spring uses auto-configuration and opinionated defaults to reduce setup time. It also includes embedded servers, allowing you uh, to run applications as standalone jarns without external server setup. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. That's what I was telling you before because this is one of the best features of Spring Boot because you don't need to configure the server. You don't need to lose time, to waste time configuring the standalone.xml to configure a lot of files and you don't need to copy the dot war in, from the target to inside of some server. So this is the kind of thing that makes Spring Boot so good as it was as it is.